brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement Studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking hosts, the good old boys. Suds, Suds, Suds. It's time for more Suds.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to where everything good in life is worth talking about. And it all has to do with the word beer. This is good old gal Julieanna, and joining me today are my co-hosts, good old boy Mike.
Howdy.
Why, thank you. Mike?
I didn't talk like Julia. Hello, everyone. It's wonderful to see you today.
That's what I was expecting.
Okay.
And we're done.
Take 2 and 3, 2.
And also with me today is good old boy Dave.
We can edit this out, right?
Possibly.
Scratch Dave.
Well, thanks, Dave. And last but certainly not least, and the most sane person we have here is good old boy Kendall.
Yeah, sorry, sane. Hi, everybody. Am I supposed to be here?
I'm not quite sure. Well, anyways.
He has the good voices.
He does have the good
in
voices.
his head. That's where they stay.
Well, this Suds segment is all about beer, 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 and yet more beer.
Today's episode is a brewery takeover. That's right, we're taking over. Almanac Beer Company is a Northern California Gypsy Brewing outfit in the San Francisco area. Imagine that, San Francisco, Northern California. Weird. The beers we'll discuss today are Citra Sour, The Devil's Advocate, starring Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino, Tequila Barrel Noir, that's Noir if you're from the South, Farmer's Reserve Pluot, and a Pluot, you'll find out what that is later.
What's a Pluot, Dave?
It's a cross between a plum and an apricot. You get a lot of plu, and then there's the ot, so you get the Pluot.
Wouldn't that be an April-Plu?
Only in Australia, because it reverses, it goes the other way.
I see, okay.
Yeah, Southern Hemisphere kind of thing. You can't throw me off, dude. And then finally, the Heirloom pumpkin, which I believe is a pumpkin that is passed down from generation to generation in a family.
I'm thinking it's the pumpkin you left on the front porch until about January.
That's a different kind of pumpkin.
Okay.
Almanac specializes in farm to barrel. We'll talk about Gypsy Brewing and farm to barrel more during the show, maybe.
Possibly. Well, throwing it back to you, good old boy Dave, you get the honor of going over our Suds ratings today. And in honor of Almanac Beer Company, he's going to read them in his best impersonation of the man who wrote the most famous almanac of all, Poor Richard's Almanac. A founding father who loved his beer just like he loved his liberty, freely available to everyone, Ben Franklin.
So, Dave, do you get to use your Ben Franklin accent? I mean, you probably sounded like a Brit that lived in Philly, but maybe a cross between a drunken soccer goon and a drunken Eagles fan. Go, Mark Sanchez! You're such a righteous gentleman.
Maybe he should just do his British accent, but try to sound like a jerk.
Hey, man, I don't need any help trying to sound like a jerk. Today... Well, that didn't really sound British, did it? Or like a jerk.
Got to sound more Britishy.
I think the founding fathers all had a very high-pitched voice. We'll be tasting and discussing these fine ales and rating them with these Suds ratings, plus our signature bodily excretion sounds. Here are those ratings now. Number 1. That sucks.
Give me anything but a monarchy. Number 2. Was that a taxation without representation? Number 3. Ah, what a revolution. Number 4. A new republic should really not make that sound. And number 5. Listen to that freedom. Give me another.
You know, I don't really. If the Founding Fathers really sounded like that, we probably would still be Britain.
Just awesome, Dave. You know, just when I think we can't hit a new low, you hit it.
No one does it better. No one does it better.
You know, it was a cross between like a pissed off British monarch and somebody that you left behind at the bread store. It's somewhere in between those two.
I can take that.
Wow. Okay, well, on that note, let's get to some beer,
I think
okay?
we should.
Yeah. Up first is good old boy Kendall with the Citra Sour.
Okay, Almanac Citra Sour is an American wild ale at 7% ABV. Their commercial description is their very first single hop sour release, and as the name suggests, Citra hops lend citrusy, fruity flavors and aromas, leading toward grapefruit or even melon and passion fruit. It's a popular hot and blends behind the big West Coast IPA, but it's bold enough to shine solo. These fruity aromas blend harmoniously with our tart, earthy, sour blonde ale, creating a beer that simultaneously contradicts and complements itself. Pairs best with summery salads and a sense of adventure.
Very good.
Quite right,
Now
mate.
read it backwards.
Now read it like this.
Oh, wow. What a beer. I love this beer. I mean, the first thing in the nose, the Citra hops just stand out, even though you're getting a little bit of what I picked up as a lemony, acidic aroma. Just those Citra hops are really there. And so I was anticipating tasting those also. And they're there. It's a very citrus forward beer. The sourness is not too sour. It's not going to strip the enamel off your teeth, but you know it's sour. Really? Yeah.
Off your wooden teeth.
And the thing I liked about it is it just had it was a contradiction. That the sour, the funky, and then with what is clearly the Citra hop we're so used to in a different kind of beer, the IPAs. And I thought it worked really well. In fact, I think it was my favorite
The whole flight,
of
really?
the whole flight.
Don't give it away, man. Don't give it away too early.
So I'm giving this a 5.
Oh, that's nice.
Wow, listen to that freedom. Give me another.
No. That is not even
And
close.
such freedom.
Listen to that freedom. Give me another. You gotta sound a little like, the British monarch queen.
I'm sorry, Julia.
Dave, do it for
I'm
her.
sorry.
Listen to that freedom. Give me another.
There you go. See?
That'll
There you
do.
go.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit girly here, and
Like my voice.
no, actually not like your voice. The first whiff of this, okay, way back in the day, I used to work at a makeup counter, and the one makeup counter over to me was this company called Prescriptives, which I know won't mean anything to you guys.
No
but
plugs.
I know. But anyways, they had this fragrance, and the first whiff of this reminded me of that fragrance because it was just so fruity and grapefruity and like a clean fruity flavor, if that makes any sense. And then I tasted it, and I was like completely blown away. This is not your Brothers West Coast IPA funky beer. I don't know. I'm a loss of words. It's so clean, but it's still funky, and it's got such a great taste. I'm giving this a 5. Like I can't say enough about it. Go ahead. You want to? Since I can't speak.
Well,
So the thing about me, and Kendall read it in the description, was like it complements and contradicts itself. what it smells like, you're thinking, oh, okay, well, this is going to be a nice little hoppy IPA, pale ale, whatever. And then you drink it, and you're like, holy crap, this is a tart, sour beer. But it's not overpowering. And the aromas keep filling your nose as you're drinking it. And it builds on the flavor. And it's just like this really citrusy, amazing thing. Like some of the beers, like, Apex Predator and certain other beers that we've had that just tasted like you were drinking grapefruit juice or orange juice or something, and having that kind of just fresh squeezed from the shoots flavor, that you just feel like you're right there in a I don't know, where do they grow grapefruits in, like an orchard
in a grove?
Yeah, grove, that thing, like in
Florida.
one of those places, and some dude like cuts one open with a hatchet or a one of them machete, machete, and squeeze it in the glass for you. That's what you got right here, man. So it's funky and sour, but it smells fresh and great. And I totally agree that this should be 5.
Wow, how about that?
Listen to that freedom. Give me another.
Oh, that was good.
That was good.
We should record that.
That was
Are we
pretty good.
recording this?
No.
Can we get that on tape?
Maybe.
All right.
We'll be right back after this break.
Well, welcome back. All right, I'm sorry. I just cannot do that. Sorry. Hello there,
You need a
ladies
little
and
background
gentlemen.
music. That's what you need, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
A little good banjo.
Guy chasing the chicken music.
Gypsy Brewing.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, welcome back, ladies and gents. We are talking about Almanac beer. Specifically, well, Mike, tell us about your beer of choice from Almanac Beer Company.
Definitely. Well, what's really funny is I'm going to do this in character, because as we were doing this modeling earlier, Julia Child has come about and is going to tell you all about the Devil's Advocate from the Almanac Beer. So this is a wild ale. Well, it's American wild. It's ABV of 7%. And here's the commercial description from the brewer. 1 moment, please, while I take off my nasty spectacles so I can leave this microprint on this page. This 100% Brettanomyces ale is brewed with mosaic hops, fermented warm and soured in wine barrels. You think you sound like this in olden times, Dave?
Only if they were very ill.
I agree. Right before bottling, it's dry hopped with Nelson hops to create an aromatic and sour ale that embraces both our love of farmhouse ale, our liver, and our tropical aromas of passion fruit, mango, and melon. A delicious contradiction of flavor, style, and availability. There you go.
What were you saying about liver?
Yes, that is correct, liver.
Now, can we have your liver?
So, my tasting notes here on Devil's Advocate. So, the one thing that caught us up with this is a beer that is no longer distributed. So, this beer's been retired. So, it might be a little difficult to find this beer. Although I did, this was something that came around rather recently. So, I don't think it's been retired for years. I think it's fairly recent, so you probably should be able to find this around for a little while. My tasting notes were very simple on this. I wrote down it had kind of a round fruit, to it. It was kind of fruit forward, sour, sweet. There wasn't really a whole lot that I just thought was overwhelming or, it was kind of middle of the road. My Suds rating for the Devil's Advocate is a 3.
Oh, what a revolution.
That never gets... You know what?
It's not going to get old today.
It's not. So...
Yeah, good old boy Dave. Tell us what you think about this beer.
I'm not even going to wait for you to key it over to me.
Obviously.
Yeah, so I felt like this, to me, was the most well-rounded beer in the flight. I'm not going to say it was necessarily my favorite, but I do think the way the sour was very balanced with the citrus flavors and everything. I hope they unretire this beer soon and bring me some. I really enjoyed the flavors and the aroma and all that cool stuff that beer nerds talk about. So I would give this beer a 4.
A New Republic should really not make that sound.
That's true. You sound like the Queen Mother.
I'm going to edit this down and just put all of these clips from Julieanna in like one little sound bite. I'm just going to play it in the car just over and over and over, so I'll be laughing my head off.
Oh, my stars. Kendall, help me out here, please.
Very good. Actually, I can't do that the whole time. I really wanted to like this beer when I smelled it because I got a lot of tart, acidic aroma out of it, and I thought it was going to be a really, just a really balanced sour. And it is sour, but I think it's almost too sour, and it sort of suppresses the fruit I was thinking I was going to get out of it. It's got some funkiness to it, but it didn't give me what I was looking for. I was really looking for a little more fruit to come out from those, the mosaic hops, but I wasn't getting any of that, and I'm at a loss for words. But
we'll just say something British.
Britishy.
It's my Suds
fruit
rating for this was a 3.
Ooh, how about that?
Oh, what a revolution.
That sounded like spotted dick to me. Wow. That was with conviction, too. You could tell she felt that revolution. She was like, yeah. Here's your tea party, sons of biatches.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. So, like Kendall, I really wanted to like this beer, and I'm sorry, the bottom corners of my jaw are just tingling with that sourness, and I can't get it out of my mouth. The smell is nice. Mm-hmm. Very nice smell, but
you sound like you don't really mean that even the smell is nice. You're like, well, it smells like old underpants, but it's really not that bad. I don't know. No,
it's just it's killing my taste buds in the corner. It's killing them. It is very, very sour to me. Just very, very sour. And like Kendall, I'm not getting the fruit component that I'm expecting to get out of the mosaic hops. To me, it's non-existent. I'm sorry. I'm happy you guys find it balanced, but I'm a little unbalanced over here in my corner. And I hate to say it, but I'm giving it a 2. Was that a taxation? Without representation.
Wow, that was good, dude. And the Academy Award goes to you.
No. Dave, would you like to talk about your beer?
Not really, because I liked the last one and you guys kind of ripped on it. So I'm going to talk about the Tequila Barrel Noir. Now, noir is a word that if you're Southern, sounds like noir. But if you're Southern, you know that there is no word that has no R in it because everything sounds like noir.
Lots of sense.
If you can,
I think we should give that a Suds rating.
Now, noir is a film term, which means it's a genre of films that kind of emphasizes a sort of a melancholy view of life with a lack of clear morality and very sarcastic, kind of dark, underworld kind of. What was that detective guy that was in all the noir films?
Guy Noir.
God, we're not doing Prairie Home Companion.
Columbo.
Dude. No, not Mike Hammer.
The Terminator.
Simon and Simon,
Exterminator.
maybe? I don't know. All right, you're out of here.
Remington Steele.
Wow, dude.
Are you thinking of a British type of guy?
Do you mean like the
Inspector Gadget.
Yes, no, it was actually Inspector Gadget. That's who it was.
Okay, I don't know about
Go Gadget middle finger.
Okay, wait a second. Whoa.
Hey, this is a family beer show.
Now wait a second.
It's not on video.
When I think of film noir,
Noir.
whatever, noir.
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 No, I think of like the Maltese Falcon.
Sure.
You know.
I didn't think
Not
we were talking about Star Wars.
Inspector Gadget.
I'm pretty sure that Humphrey Bogart was the original Inspector Gadget.
Okay. Moving on.
Okay, I think we just killed the show.
Yeah.
Okay,
Alright,
so Tequila Barrel Noir.
Mm-hmm.
My notes were chocolate with fruit in it. Kind of like if you dipped a grapefruit in a thing of melted dark chocolate, you'd kind of get this. I like it. It's a little off-putting to me. Not a huge fan, but it's kind of drinkable. I would give it a 3.
Was that the revolution?
Your stand-in had to...
I think he did a better job. Okay, Kendall, what did you think of this beer?
It's interesting because I'm getting something out of the barrel, and obviously it's that tequila barrel is doing something very different than what bourbon barrels do to imperial stouts. Mm-hmm. And it's got a little sweetness and a little fruitiness, like Dave mentioned, and just a little bit of smoke I can pick up in it. And I think it's pretty good, but it wasn't as great as I wanted it to be. And that's kind of, I was hoping it to be. It wasn't very thick and viscous, kind of like I want out of my big imperial stouts. And I was, thought it was a little thin, and that's why I'm giving it a 3.
3.
It's like it wasn't complete, you know?
What's a
Wasn't
revolution?
So it almost killed Kendall right there.
I'm back.
That's the noir in it.
That is the noir in it. Okay.
The tequila does that to me.
So.
Makes his clothes fall off.
Well, that's another.
That's for after the show.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is a noir all its own. Okay, so yeah, it's a beautiful dark color, and I think I was just expecting a bit bolder flavor than what I got out of it, if that makes any sense. It was a little thin, and I got almost like this astringent barrel tasting taste, if that makes any sense.
I can see that.
Negative.
Astringent barrel tasting taste. So was the barrel tasting it?
I think it was the taste.
I think the barrel was giving me an aftertaste. But Yeah, so it was just, it didn't quite meet up to my expectations of what a tequila... I mean, because I've had some other beers that were aged in tequila barrels that just had like a bigger, fatter flavor for what I was, So this fell a little bit short, and I'm giving this a 3. What's Revolution?
Wow, you guys got me really questioning what I'm about to say or what I wrote down. All right, so I wrote...
what kind of revolution do you have, sir?
I need something that is probably involves Julia Child is good to TV. No, I'm just kidding. See. Wow. So I wrote that it's a better beer barrel. It's a better barrel offering.
Bitter, batter, better?
Bitter, yeah. Mm-hmm, towboat. So, it's just... I don't know that everything is aged, barrel aged, with Almanac, and at least the wood that's coming off a lot of these beers is fairly light. This one, the barrels is the show, definitely. Yeah. And you can definitely tell that it's fortified with something. Tequila definitely is all over this, and if you'd probably asked me beforehand, is there a beer I really love in tequila, I would have said negative. It's just one of those, barrel types that I really don't think really complements a lot of types of beer. I don't think I've ever had a stout in tequila. This is probably the first time maybe I can think of with maybe that combination. Can you guys think of any other tequila?
I think we had some at
Theory.
GABF, yeah.
Oh, Adroit Theory, yeah. Yeah, different show later on this season. So, but
how's that for a prequel?
Yeah, how about that? So this, I wrote down it had raisins and dried dark fruit.
Yeah.
And I did think for a stout it was kind of light. It was a little thin. Yeah, lacked a little body. Kind of coming around it. It was a little difficult for me to kind of buy into the fact that it was headed down that Porter Road. Kind of thing.
Porter Road Butcher?
No, just Porter Road. Oh. I gave this a Suds rating of 4.
A New Republic should really not make that sound.
Yep. This was my favorite of the flight.
I'm glad we crapped on it for you.
Every palate's different.
Well, exactly.
No, so the thing that I have noticed, though, sitting here is this has been open in the glass for, 40 minutes or something like that. And it has definitely changed. And even in the glass, 40 minutes later, I don't think it's as good as when we first opened the bottle. And I don't think the air is really doing this thing, a whole lot of favors because that sweetness has really kicked up quite a bit in this than when we first opened it. It was a lot more complex.
Some beers, are better served a little bit colder, a little bit fresher out of the bottle than, and others get better as they warm up and open. So, maybe that's what it is.
Maybe.
Maybe, baby.
Okay. Well, next, I'm going to talk about my beer. But before I talk about my beer, I want to talk about this idea of farm to table and farm to barrel. Almanac is known for their farm to barrel, but let me take it back for just a minute. Farm to table has become like a word that you hear all the time. I know here in the Nashville area, that has become a big part of the restaurant revolution that we have in the city. A lot of chefs are now making their menus with a lot of farm to table ingredients. In fact, there is one restaurant in particular that actually grows his own vegetables that gets used at his restaurant. And I'm sure there's more and more of that trend for that.
Sure.
And all of that in line with, getting back to a very healthy lifestyle and, very whole foodsy kind of stuff.
Community, too.
Exactly. Okay, so Almanac is doing the same thing. With their barrel-aged program, they are picking local farmers and, in fact, picking one farmer that they will brew a lot of beers from using their fruits and vegetables. So, okay, with Almanac coming to Nashville, from California to Nashville in the near future, what do you think that is that a good thing to have something like that, or what?
I'll take a stab at it first. I don't think that the freshness of ingredients plays into the quality of beer the same way that it does into other things. Mainly because you're introducing heat and time and air that tends to diminish a lot of components that you would have in fresh ingredients. If you were doing something where you were not altering the state of the base ingredients with heat or cold, where you were maintaining the temperature of the ingredients as it was created, or I would say at rest, then you're not altering the basic underlying aroma or taste of that particular ingredient or product. Sorry, I didn't mean clear my throat in everybody's ear, but the other thing is with brewers, they need to keep their equipment moving along. And I think to try and time things where they're relying upon harvest components and weather and other things where they're trying to drive a schedule, a brewery schedule, and then all of a sudden you have all these, uncontrollable factors that play into what they're doing. I mean, do you really want to wait for the Pluots to come into harvest?
Pluots.
So, or just a bunch of people standing around going, "What's a Pluot?" So,
We'll be right back after this break.
I'd like to know how this went down and got introduced, at Almanac. Was this the brewer that said, "I want to brew with the freshest ingredients"? Or was it a marketing guy that walked into the room and said, "You know what?
I can answer that.
We can increase, the price of this by 15 to 18% if you will just use the word farm in your beer."
Yeah. Well, they were both, the two founders were both home brewers. And they were brewing beers in their San Francisco apartments, and they would go down to the farmer's market and get stuff. So, like Kendall,
it's not farm to barrel.
Well, it's farm to farm to pot. Farm to bucket. We've all done stuff like that. As home brewers, it's easy to do as a home brewer at 5 gallons.
I want to see you go down to the farmer's market and ask for a Pluot. I want to be standing within 3 feet of you when somebody goes, "What you talking about, boy?"
Yeah.
Pluot? How you spell that? Is that with a P?
Yeah.
Well, we can't get Pluots, but we could get some, apricot squash or some butternut squash. Make a butternut stout.
Sure. All right. Well,
Anywho.
good. Yeah. Well, good discussion.
I gotta have more cowbell, baby. Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
That's a whole... wow. Okay. Well, I'm going to talk about the Farmer's Reserve Pluot from Almanac Beer Company.
God, I love Pluots.
I love saying the word Pluot.
Pluot. I know, it's pretty cool, isn't it? Okay, so this one is classified as an American Wild Ale, and it is
wild.
Exactly, like the cowbell, with a 7% ABV. Now, Pluots are some of Almanac's favorite fruits, okay? Created by a crossbreeding of apricots and plums, there are a dozen of varieties with an amazing range of colors and flavors.
Keep in mind they're from San Francisco, so they know their fruits. Can you say that on the radio?
Okay, that was funny.
Yep, there are many fruits that grow in that area. Okay, so...
It's very robust farm country. That's what I meant.
Sure. Okay. So all through the summer, Blossom Bluff Orchards picks each variety at its peak. The Dapple Dandy, the Honey Punch, the Flavor Queen, the Black Cat, and the Dapple Jack. So all of those varieties were added to a sour blonde ale and then aged in wine barrels
this
to
is
create...
the beer of the Castro District.
And that's why you picked me to read this beer off. Yeah. So it is a funky oak aged beer. Yes. But you know what?
I can taste the Flavor Queen.
Yeah, I just got this whole thing playing through my head going, I want the beer with the Dapple Dandy in it. I mean, you know, it's like, who says that?
Wow. Okay, for me, I happen to really, really, really enjoy this beer. Because I'm getting, like, it reminds me of Cascade's apricot beer. And, you know, so I'm getting a good apricot flavor, but I'm getting, like, a plum sweetness in it, too. Which is why it's a Pluot.
So you get a lot of ot and a little bit of Pluot?
Exactly. Exactly. Nice. But it's a good mix. And I think this sour blonde is a good base for this beer. I really enjoyed it, and I'm giving it a 4.
Nice.
A revolution should really not make this sound.
Very good.
Yeah. Okay. So, Mike, what do you think of this beer?
Well, I like saying the word Pluot.
Don't we all?
Yep, that's right. So my tasting notes for Farmers Reserve Pluot from Almanac, I wrote down kind of soft and tart, kind of in the middle of the road, sour. Oh my gosh, this is a pucker up beer. This is sour extreme. It's crossed over the line of balance for sure. Yeah, I decided I don't like a Pluot that much.
Okay.
Yeah, my Suds rating for this is going to be a 2.
Oh, dang.
Was that taxation without representation?
I think it was.
Okay. Dave, what did you think of this beer?
You are the Flavor Queen. Sorry, I was
channeling a different
going
episode.
back to the ABBA episode.
Okay.
Actually, I really like this beer.
I like that. I've stuck a song in his head the rest of the day.
I think if I had to guess, I would say this is about 30% Dapple Dandy, 42% Flavor Queen, and then the rest of it is a mix of the other dandies. There's definitely a lot of dandies in it, though. Heavy on the dandies. I don't know if that carries over from year to year with the different crops, but this particular vintage, heavy on the dandy, light on the queen. So good though. It's very tart, very fruit forward. I like it. I would give it a 4.
Revolution will not make that sound.
I would suggest we cut him off, but
Oh my god.
it's too funny.
It's just too good.
This gets better and better, doesn't it?
Okay. Kendall, what did you think of this beer?
I like this beer. I thought it was tart, but I did get the fruit coming out, especially after it warmed up.
So would you say that the fruit is really coming out right now?
I think so. But when it was cold, I was getting mostly apricots.
Okay.
And as it warmed up,
and you
I
got
could
more of the
start
plum
getting a
ish?
little bit of that plum.
Gotcha.
So, and I think that worked really well in this. It was a sweet, kind of a sweet and a tart together.
I got that. I know what you're saying exactly.
And but that kind of fades, and almost to a wine-like finish. And found it really
it was like sweet tarts a little bit. You know how there are those candies where it's the sugar coating is on top, but then it's kind of sour under it. Yeah, or maybe that's reversed.
Like Smarties.
Smarties.
I think, yeah, Smarties.
This is the Smarties of sour ales.
Yeah, the sweet tart is the reverse. It's sour and then sweet.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. In reverse.
Sure. Okay.
So
Kendall, what did you give this beer?
Didn't measure up to the citrus sour, but I still thought it was very good. Giving it a 4.
Wow. He likes the pucker.
The New Republic should really not make that sound.
You want the rest of mine?
Was that Donald Duck?
I was going to say.
Mike is fully divesting his portfolio of Pluot futures.
That would be correct.
Oh, my
We should have made it into a drinking game. Where every time we say the word Pluot, everybody has to drink a shot of something. That would have been fun if we had thought about it in advance.
We would have made it about 15
So listen,
minutes.
if you're listening to this show on your own and you want to sit down and have some fun with a friend or friends, sit down, listen to the episode together, and every time we say the word Pluot, you have to do a shot of something. What's it going to be, Dave?
Pluot, 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 Pluot. They're just everybody's wasted.
I feel the fruits coming out of the walls.
Well, since we did a tequila barrel noir, I think
it'd be a shot of tequila.
Shot of tequila every time you hear the word Pluot.
A fruity tequila.
Pluot, Pluot, Pluot.
All right. Moving right along.
Good luck.
Gosh.
God be with you.
Kendall, would you like to talk about your heirloom pumpkin?
Okay, the heirloom pumpkin. I was just going to see if the description we've got is the same that is according to the bottle.
It's not.
It's not. Because the description we found online was for a heirloom pumpkin barley wine, but there's no way this is a barley wine.
No.
I think this is like a fall seasonal or something.
It is.
Let's see if I can read the label here. This beer is made with real pumpkins. We hand roasted over 1,000 pounds of heirloom pumpkins from La Tercera. What is that? La Tercera Farms in Bodega Bay. The caramelized gourds were then added to our velvety American barley wine style ale. So it does say it is a barley wine.
No, it doesn't come
And
across.
aged in rye and brandy barrels for a year. Finally, we blended the barrel-aged beer with freshly brewed ale and added a hint of pumpkin pie spices to round out the decadent autumn sipper.
Well, okay, now that you know it definitely is a barley wine.
I didn't mean to hit that button at the end of it. I'll wait until my tasting notes come around.
So now that you know it's definitely a barley wine, proceed.
I get the pumpkin. I get a little bit of the spice, but I don't get the barley wine.
Do you get any rum or brandy or whatever?
I'm getting a little bit of, something from the barrel.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little spice, but I don't know if that's from the barrel or from what they actually added. And it's kind of thin. It tastes more like Reverend Mark said this when he was here, kind of like a mix between a pumpkin beer and a Scottish ale.
Yeah.
And I think that's a pretty good description of it. And was not one of my favorites. Actually, didn't really enjoy the beer. I'm giving it a 2.
Was that a taxation without representation?
I know. Yes, this was not your grandma's pumpkin ale.
Your grandma made a pumpkin ale?
My grandma made a lot of things with pumpkin. Yes.
Wow.
Well, we had a lot of pumpkins in PA. What can I say?
Yes.
Yeah, it's okay. So when I think of barley wines, I think of something a little bit richer, and this was not. I do get a good pumpkin flavor, but it's competing with the rye barrel, and I'm getting a lot of rye, and there's a little confliction going on because I love rye. I'm okay with pumpkin, and I'm trying to even it out, and it's not happening. It's an interesting idea, though. and maybe in the right, maybe like in an even amount of months or something, it would maybe be a little bit better. But I get the idea, and I dig the idea. I just don't think it was completely well executed. Sorry. I'm giving this beer a 3. What's a revolution? Mike.
I'm going to be quick and swift to the point. I wrote down on my tasting notes are tangy, earthy, and sweet. All things that I don't like in a beer.
Yeah.
Okay.
You hit the trifecta.
My Suds rating is 2.
Was that a taxation without representation?
So I had a little bit of a story, with this beer. One of the trips I took to San Francisco, I stopped into the city beer store. It's a great little shop in San Francisco. They have maybe 12 taps or something in there, and a really great selection of beer. It's one of those places where it's not huge, but the beer that they do have there on the shelves is really great stuff. And this was, I can't even remember how it came down to me trying this beer, because I don't like pumpkin beers. They're just cinnamon and nutmeg bombs, a continuation of a theme that I just don't like from the fall. But I thought, you know what, I think somebody heard me talking about that when I was sitting at the bar, and I think the bartender just grabbed a bottle and opened it, and he said, well, try this. I'm just curious what you think about it. And I remember saying, I thought it was okay. I didn't particularly like it. And then he told me what it was, and I was kind of reading through it, and I was like, that's a very interesting description that I don't think they pulled off. So that was probably what it was, is even when they were trying to align with that description of everything they said they had done with it, I just didn't think it matched up with that description very well. So, but interesting. I would definitely say this is a pumpkin beer for people that have tried them all. It should be on your inventory of things to go, yeah, I had that once.
Oh, sure. Dave, what did you think of this beer?
Well, had we seen that it actually was not a barley wine, I would say pretty decent pumpkin beer, which I don't like anyways, but probably would have given it a 3. But since it's supposed to be a barley wine that's barrel aged, it's clearly not. Kind of sucks. I will give it a 2.
Was that a taxation without representation?
Okay. Well, yeah, there we go. All right. Well, great stuff. And that's going to wrap it up for today's Suds episode.
Yeah, just like they say in Poor Richard's Almanac, guests and fish stink after 3 days.
Oh, it does feel like we have been here for a while.
Oh, fine.
Sitting in a patch of pumpkins.
And Pluots.
And Pluots, yeah.
Well, we hope you enjoy this episode, and you can catch all of our episodes online, as well as on SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, YouTube, PRX, and Spreaker, our native media host. iTunes and our own Android app are the easiest ways to enjoy the show on your phone. Just search for Sips, Suds, Smokes on iTunes or in the Google Play Store.
We love your feedback. You can always reach us at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com.
Our daily tasting notes flow out on Twitter every single day. Our handle on Twitter is @SipSudsSmoke, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news.
Do us a favor and take the time to rate this episode if you're listening to us online. That's a big help to us, and we get to see your feedback as well.
Hey, Kendall, tell everyone who is still listening to this how to find you on your blog.
My lovely wife and I blog about beer at beermakes3.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at beermakes3.
Great. I want to thank our host, good old boy Mike.
Hey, come back, join us once again. I'll ask you to definitely keep on sipping.
And good old boy Dave.
Get you some of them dappled dandies.
And good old boy Kendall.
It was a pleasure as always. Cheers.
I am good old gal Julieanna, and thank you again for listening to us. And we'll see you next time.
This has been a one-tan-hand production of Sips, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see you all next time.